son's 10 years old. 4 years he spent battling cancer when we found out he had the cancer. At that point, he bailed. He's been in remission for 5 years. Just the pain that he went through is unreal. He had such high doses of chemotherapy. Even the lining of his mouth and his throat completely melted away. At 5 years old, he felt like he was gonna die.
I'd like to pick that chair up with you in it and throw it against the wall. Where's your fight for your son?
Well, I've had hard times in my life.
Have you battled cancer in the last 9 years?
No, sir, I haven't.
You've had it tough? How about your little boy who almost lost his life twice?
That little boy right there, you bailed on him, Patrick. Look at those pictures. You should be crying, Patrick! I'm not perfect, but my butt was next to that little boy. Hugging him,
You would have told me when it was.
loving him. Hey, it ain't my job to make you dad. It ain't my job.
You're not his father. I am.
I was never given a chance to be the father.
Okay, look at this picture here. That's him with your little boy. As soon as he gets off the stage and away from me, he starts throwing things and beating things up. Where's this fire when you can't see your son? You want to be back to pushing Chicago police officers, but you won't go over and knock on your own son's door. Welcome to the show. My guest is Colleen. And Colleen, why are you here today?
I'm here today to confront my son's biological father. My son's 10 years old, and out of those 10 years, 4 years he spent battling cancer, a very rare form of cancer. All the while, Patrick has never been a part of his life. We actually split up whenever Dalton was like 5 months old. I had come home and seen my son in a car seat in front of the TV with the chest belt near his throat, screaming and crying, while his father slept like 3 feet away on the couch. So that day I said, I'm done. This is it. There is absolutely no way I'm gonna stay with you. Even though my son was not his highest priority, he would call or vaguely see him every now and again until my son turned 14 months old when we found out he had the cancer. At that point, he bailed. He was out. He didn't want to have nothing to do with him. He knew that, of course, that Dalton was very sick. We ended up, actually, my son had surgery, and whenever he had a surgery, his body had rejected the dissolvable stitches and got a severe infection in his groin. He was rushed from Springfield to St. Louis by ambulance because he was so sick, and when we got there, Patrick showed up, but he went on a little field trip, while my son laid sick in a hospital bed, very ill. He went to see the Arch. He went to the Hard Rock Cafe. He had a really good time, I'm sure all this time never even crossed his mind that his child was this sick. Of course, I confronted him about it, and he tells me he had never seen this stuff before. That's why he did it.
He went and
He went
it was
on a
like a
field trip.
tourist and went on a little sightseeing tour.
Right, absolutely, he sure did. After that, we got the infection cleared up, and we came home, and Dalton was doing all right, but then he relapsed again with the cancer. He actually relapsed twice, and on the second time, he was 2 years old, starting chemotherapy, and to be a 2-year-old and going through chemotherapy, it was very difficult for him. Of course, during this time, there was no Patrick, no calls, no letters, nothing. It was like July of 2000, my son got very sick. He got strep pneumonia right after a chemotherapy treatment, and his blood pressure was dropping. The doctors were telling us that he may not even make it through the night. I felt obligated as a mother that Patrick needed to know what was going on with him, because if something did happen,
Well, it's his
I
son.
wanted him
It's
to
his son.
know. Exactly. So I called him, let him know what was going on. I told him how important this was for him to know. I mean, my son's blood pressure had gotten cleared
This is
down.
your son here?
That is him, yes. That's when we were in St. Louis when he had the infection, when Patrick went on his field trip. I was trying to express to him how the doctors are telling us that he may not make it through the night. This is serious. This is not play or pretend. He said, okay, I'm going to call back. I want to check on him. I want to see how he's doing. At the time, he was living in California. We didn't hear again from him for 3 months. So this jerk lived 3 months without even knowing whether or not his son was alive. Of course, at that point, after he finished up his chemotherapy, we thought he was in remission, thought he was going to be all right. 2 years went by. After that 2 years, I did allow him a few times. My son did karate, and I would allow him to see him, but not have conversations with him, because I was so afraid that he was going to develop a relationship with this person, whether he knew it was his father or not, and then he was just going to bail out on him again. And he's been through so much. He did not deserve that hurt anymore.
And he's 10 years old now?
He's almost 11. He'll be 11 in March.
And is your son okay now?
He is not. He's been in remission now for 5 years. Yep. Thank you.
Thank God. I got to admit, this is probably the first time I'm emotional right now. I'm a little choked up because this story is a little too familiar for me, because I have somebody in my family, the young boy, that has cancer, and I know how it tears somebody up. And to hear a story like this, where a parent doesn't care for their child, is not there for their child, I have to scratch my head and say, what kind of human being this is?
Not.
Listen to the story is when the doctor's telling you, your son might not make it through the night. It's got to be horrendous for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could cry now. He's been in remission for 5 years, but just the pain that he went through is unreal. I mean, when he had a stem cell transplant, they took him as close to death as you could get. He had such high doses of chemotherapy. Even the lining of his mouth and his throat completely melted away. That's how bad it was. At 5 years old, he told one of my family members that time in the hospital when he was at his worst that he felt like he was going to die. And for a 5-year-old little boy to even be able to imagine or think what it feels like to die, I mean, that tells me how much pain and hurt he was in.
I usually just tell people, get the hell out of my chair. I'd like to pick that chair up with you in it and throw it against the wall. You're here, you want to push your way around through everything, you're mad. Where's this fire when you can't see your son? So what do you want to happen today?
You know what? He's done. I gave him one option. I told him this is your last warning back in 05. I said, you know what? Yes, I allowed him to see him. I allowed the whole conversation. Let him get to know him. I thought maybe if he got to know him and knew his favorite color or anything about him, maybe he would reevaluate himself and want to be a part of his life. So I did that. I let him see him. And at that point, I said, this is it. If you bail again, I'm done. I'm through with you. He bailed. He's out. So you know what? What good is he? He's absolutely
he wasn't there for your son.
No.
He's not there for you while you're going through this with your son.
Right. Yeah, but
just the biggest battle in your life, your son's life. And so he's not there for you. He's not there for his son. Is there any good excuse why not to be there for your child?
In my opinion, I think it's because he didn't want to have to deal with the medical bills. I think he just didn't want to deal with any of it.
Has he ever helped you pay these medical bills?
Oh, God, no. No, absolutely not.
These are all your son's medical bills?
Those are just the billing, yes.
That's just the billing?
Right, dollar amounts.
And I could peel one off, and he hasn't paid one?
Absolutely not. No, no. He paid his child support like off not. In fact, I think he worked well up to close to $7,000 or $8,000 behind in child support. He has paid since like last April. I don't know where that's going or where that's. I'm not on board with that just yet because I don't know what his full intentions are. There has been hearsay that he's taking me to court for visitation rights. He's freaking ridiculous. I hope that. I would laugh in his face.
So he's been coming in the picture recently and trying to be in his son's life?
No, absolutely not. He came in one time, and he didn't even really come in. All he did was worked a way to let my family members know that he wanted to get my son a Christmas present last Christmas. One gift in 10 years should make things right, right? Yeah, no.
Does your son know who his father is?
My son does not know that Patrick's his father. The man that I'm with today, for 10 years now, that's who my son's dad is. He stood by him in the hospitals. He's helped. I couldn't work. There was no way I could work because I would not leave that hospital. I was next to that bed with my boy every single time he was in that hospital. And he worked. He supported us. He took care of us so that I could be there with him.
So he's your son's father?
That's absolutely right. He sure is.
And this is a picture of your son now?
Yes, that's him now.
Well, he's a good-looking, healthy-looking boy, and I hope he stays that way.
Thank you very much.
What I'd like to do now is I'm going to ask you to leave the stage. I'm going to talk to Patrick, and at some point I'll bring you back out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's bring out the father of Dalton, who Colleen says hasn't been in his life, hasn't been there for his son while he battled cancer. Let's bring Patrick out. I usually just tell people, get the hell out of my chair. I'd like to pick that chair up with you in it and throw it against the wall. So, until we find out if she was telling the truth, why don't you tell your story standing? Were you in your son's life?
I haven't been. No.
Why not?
She left me.
She left you?
Yeah. I don't know why.
You don't know why?
No why.
Maybe it was because you had the baby strapped in a car seat watching TV while you were passed out?
Honestly, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Not that, no.
So it could be true.
That part, yeah, it could be, but I don't remember doing that.
Why don't you remember?
I don't know, that's what, 10 years ago?
So? Were you under influence of drugs or alcohol when that happened?
No, sir.
So you were sober?
Yes, sir.
And you have no recollection of that at all?
No.
So
I don't remember leaving my son. I love my son.
You love your son?
Yes, I do. I mean, as much as she says I don't. You know,
Intensely, you love
I've
your
been
son.
there. I've been trying to get a hold of her. Been trying to be in
Have you been there? Have you actually physically been there?
Until he was a year old, yes.
So 9 years just clicked on by?
Well, I've had hard times in my life.
You've had hard times. You've had hard times.
Yeah.
Have you suffered cancer in the last 9 years? Did
Why
you
wouldn't
fight for
she
your
let
life?
me
I'm
there?
asking you a question. Have you battled cancer in the last 9 years?
No, sir, I haven't.
You've had it tough? You
Not as
want to
rough as
sit up here
Dalton.
and say you had it tough? How about your little boy who almost lost his life twice?
But I didn't make.
How did you have it tough?
Well, the reason why I moved to California, that was the whole reason why she's saying I left, or that I don't care about him. No, I was homeless. I had nothing. I was living in a car that had no engine. The engine blew. Dead middle of winter.
Oh my God! Ooh, now I'm choked up again. I'm choked up again because your engine blew. You're in a car. That's your son. He was in the hospital bed. He was dying. What were you doing? Going to Hard Rock Cafe?
No, I went to the Hard Rock Cafe after he was in the
And you went to go see the Arch, right?
When he was in the recovery room.
Why? Let me ask you something. What would be the motivation of Colleen to lie and make up this story? What would be the motivation?
Why
to get money out of you?
No, she gets money out of me.
Okay, so what's the motivation here? To get you in your son's
Make me
life?
look like a bad guy.
But some family member threatened you and, oh, I can't go by, see my son. Where's the fight in you, man? Where's the fight in wanting to see the child you brought into the world?
Patrick, look at those pictures. You should be crying. Crying, Patrick!
Now you want to start acting like a lunatic? Where's this passion when every day that goes by you don't see your son? You know what? It blows my freaking mind. I've had it tough. And when I say, well, how did you have it tough? You would think the first thing you would say as a father, my son had cancer. My son had cancer.
What am I supposed to do when she won't?
Did you almost die twice by, from the chemotherapy you were receiving over the last nurse? Oh, that's right.
No,
You
sir,
didn't
I
have
didn't.
cancer.
And if she
Your
would have
throat
told
didn't
me,
melt away from the chemo like your son's did.
if she would have called me and told me when he's in the hospital, I would have been there. If she would have called me and told me, hey, why don't you come pick up your son?
So you had no
Give
idea.
me a phone number to even reach my son.
You had no idea.
No, she would never call me. I was not allowed to come by her house. I was
Why?
not.
Why?
Because her family. I was threatened by her family.
Oh my God. And you felt what? Scared?
Well, I mean, I'm 17 years old, and
So what? I'm asking you. Were you scared?
Wasn't
So you didn't go
scared,
see your son?
But why am I going to cause more problems for my son when he's already has cancer, has problems?
How much more problems can you cause? When he's lying in bed dying, how much problems can you cause your son?
I don't know.
I've been told that Colleen's never moved since she's been with you.
So I'm supposed to go knock on her door.
Yeah,
And-
you have a son. You're supposed to go knock on the door.
Let me finish.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Say you're in a park with your son, right? He's climbing the monkey bars or going down the swing or going down the slide swinging. And I come along and I grab your son. And I grab him and I take him. And I start walking away from him. What are you going to do?
Beat you down.
Beat me down. You're going to beat me down, which I would hope that you would do. I would hope you caved my head in for taking your son, some stranger. But some family member threatened you and, I can't go by, see my son. Where's the fight in you, man? Where's the fight in wanting to see the child you brought into the world?
Well, maybe I should have done more,
Where's your fight for your son? Somebody threatens you, you say, keep away from your son. Wouldn't your response be, I'm going to beat you down, just like you told me if I grabbed your son in the park? Wouldn't you beat them down?
Yeah.
Somebody threatened you, ever call the police, make a police report?
No.
Why not? You felt threatened. Somebody's keeping you from a son. Did you ever hire a lawyer and say, I want to get my son? I have a son.
I didn't have the money to hire a lawyer.
Didn't have the money?
No, I didn't even have the money to have a place to live.
Did you go to anybody
At
and
the
say,
point.
hey, can you help me get my son back?
I've tried helping.
With who?
I went to my mom. I've went to a few other people.
Jeez.
My family's not the greatest in the world. I've had it rough too.
And his family's not the greatest in the world.
No.
You can turn to your mom. Can he turn to his father?
No,
you
I've always been here. I've always been here.
You've always been there.
Yes, I've told Colleen where I've been, what I'm doing.
So she
and I've
has
tried.
to make the effort.
She's
has
never
to
made
pick
the
up
effort.
the phone and
She's
call
never
you.
made the effort. She's never picked up
But
the
you
phone
never
and called
made the
me.
effort either.
I don't have a phone number. I never had a phone number for her.
You don't have a phone number, but you know where you could find her? Next to your son in a hospital bed, right there. That's where she was.
Okay, I was there then.
No.
I was there then. I didn't go out. Yes, I made wrong. Maybe.
You live 15 minutes away from her, right?
Yes.
You've lived there for the last 5 years. You live 15 minutes away from
Yeah,
your
and
son.
4 years ago, I sat down with Colleen at a buddy's
And
house.
how much time have you spent with your son in those last 5 years?
Probably an hour. But when I was there, I couldn't tell him who I was. I had to tell him my name was Jason because she's scared that her family would find out that I'm talking to him.
And since that meeting 5 years ago, any other trying?
I have no number to get a hold of her.
No number. You know where she lives.
Am I supposed to go over and get the cops and go to jail?
Yes!
Go to jail?
Yes!
What good am I going to do him sitting in jail? If she wants me in it, she wanted me in his life so bad, why'd she take me out?
Hey, you know what? Why wouldn't you call the police and say, you know what? I want to go see my son. The woman I had the baby with, my son with, she lives right here.
I did call the cops. They asked me, do I have visitation order? I said no.
Is there anything saying that you can't see your son? Is there any legal document saying you cannot see your son?
No.
Okay, so if there's no legal document that says no judge told you stay away, there's no restraining order, there's no order of protection. You
tried.
keep saying you tried. You haven't done a damn thing because you don't have a phone number.
The only thing I haven't done is go kick her door in. Am I supposed to go do that?
Is that the only way to see your son is to go kick the door in?
And then what, go to jail? I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so you don't want to go to jail, so you're not going to see your son.
No, I'll see my son. Why do I have to be a fight?
Will.
Why does it have to be a fight? Why can't she say, okay, you want to be a part?
If every father was like you, there'd be no fathers in this country. There'd be none. You had this little boy, and every day that goes by, you don't get that day back. You're here, you want to push your way around through everything, you're mad. Where's this fire when you can't see your son? I think it would be better if you said, sorry, son, I've been behind bars for the last 6 years. That would be a good excuse. Not one that would say,
Why?
you know.
Because she chose to keep me out of his life?
Oh, jeez. Are you blaming her?
Yeah.
You're going to blame Colleen.
I mean, I'm not perfect. I should have done more. Maybe I should have went and kicked her door in and said, I want to see my son.
That's the
or
only
called
solution,
the cops.
kicking the door in.
But hey, no one's perfect.
So, again, you want to blame Colleen?
Well, it's not all my fault.
So what?
I have made attempts.
It's mostly her fault.
I would say yes, mostly hers. Except for, I didn't do the man thing and show up at her doorstep.
She hasn't run away. She hasn't moved to another state. She hasn't tried to
I went to
change
another
her
state
identity.
because I had a crisis in my life where I had nothing.
Oh, here we go. What was
nothing.
the crisis?
I was homeless. I had no
You
job.
were homeless.
I went out there to get on my feet and
Why
come back.
didn't you stay here and live with your mom?
But as soon as I got to California,
why didn't you
what did I
stay here
do?
and live with your mom?
Me and my mom were on good terms.
You couldn't get along with anybody, huh? Couldn't get along with Colleen. Couldn't get along with your mom. Family members threatened you. Everybody.
No.
What were you doing that everybody hated you so much?
I have no clue.
You don't have any clue.
No.
But you do know that it's Colleen's fault that you haven't seen your son.
Because I've made attempts. I mean, yeah, granted, might be not
That's the only thing you
maybe
do
I
know.
didn't do the 100% right way and go the legal route and all that. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't understand. I didn't know what I could do.
Oh, God. And why are you here today?
I don't know. You guys called me.
So,
I'm here today to try to talk to my son or try to be in his
my
life,
God.
but it seems like all I'm doing is getting dogged, man.
first of all,
I've made mistakes.
how am I dogging you?
I mean, I feel like I can't get a word out with you.
I'm letting you talk right now.
Every
I'm
time
just
I
asking a
talk, you
question.
cut right in.
Okay. For the next 60 seconds, I'm not going to say a word. Starting now.
It's not a joke. What do you want me to tell you? You know I'm sorry. I've made mistakes in the past, okay? Maybe I didn't do exactly everything to legally, go to the courts or call the cops to get my son. But I knew he was deathly sick. I wasn't trying to make more drama in his life with seeing me and Colleen fight and argue. That's the only reason why I've never gone over there. And, I mean, I don't know what to say. It should be, I feel like she made the choice for me not to be there. I never gave up on her and him. I was there. She's the one that left. And just like I said, tonight is the first time I've ever heard an excuse why she left. And I've asked her. I've sat down and tried to be the man and say, look, I want to build a relationship with my son. What do I have to do? She's like, well, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens. What else am I supposed to do? Just take him? No, I'll go to jail for kidnapping. I want her to be able to say, all right, I trust you enough to meet me at McDonald's and you could sit there for 15 minutes with him. That's fine. If that's what she's willing to give me to be with my son, to build a relationship to prove that I'm going to be there. If she'd give me a chance to be there, I would be there. I would have been there from the start. I would have never left. But I didn't leave Illinois to go to California because I didn't want to be with my son. That's not the case at all. I left because I had issues in my life that I had to go straighten out. And like I said, once I got there, I kept her and her family informed of where I was. As soon as I got there, I called, and her family told me, don't ever call here, don't ever come by here again. You're not going to be a part of Dalton's life. Which I tried. I've tried talking to her. I didn't want to make a big scene out of it.
2 minutes.
That's the longest I've got to talk since I've been on the show.
And during that 2 minutes, you didn't say anything. I'm dogging you. You're dogging me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
How am I dogging you?
Because you won't answer a question intelligently, honestly. You're wasting my time. That's what you're doing. There is nothing to you. Nothing. How does it... You're the invisible man. No answers, not there, just the invisible man.
That's
How are you
not
going
what
to
you
kick
wanna
down a
hear,
door?
or what?
How are you going to kick down a door? With what? You're invisible, man. There's nothing to you. You don't have a leg to kick down a door. And I think to kick down a door, you might need these. And let's bring out the evil woman that caused all of this. One of the worst people I've ever had on my show, Colleen. You're going to be crying someday that you let your whole life go by and you were never, ever in your son's life. You want to be back there pushing Chicago police officers, but you won't go over and knock on your own son's door.
Hopefully you didn't think this was going to be another damn field trip. Patrick, look at those pictures. You should be crying. Crying, Patrick! Look at him! Look at him! Why can't you do that? You're showing up right now. You don't give a damn. What is your problem?
I do care.
All these lies. Oh, I don't have a phone number. Okay. Well, you sure know about him, right? You were told all about him. This is how you stay up to date, right? This is how you know about his cancer. This is how you know about that. Then you need to find out my phone number. You don't wait 11 years. How?
I've tried. I've even asked you personally. You wouldn't give it to me. Why? You're scared of everybody else finding out that we're talking. We have something to do with that I have something to do with Dalton.
First off, let me go with this, okay? That little boy right there, okay? You bailed on him. You bailed on him.
You left me. You're the one that left me when he was 3 months old.
It's a good thing I did.
I just found out reason why you left. I mean,
okay,
I'm not denying and saying that might have happened. I don't remember that. I'm sorry, I don't remember that. But that might have happened. But you could have talked to me. You could have worked. We could have tried to work things out.
What did I tell you? I said, this is it. I'm not playing your games no more. I'm not here to play house with you. He has a heart. He has feelings. And we're not going to play these games.
But how many times have I tried to talk to you? You say, Colleen, let me be in his life.
When was the last time?
Let me. What, 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Boy, that's.
I mean, you could. I mean, what am I?
And when was that? That was during that little meeting when I told you and that family. I said, this is it. I will let you.
But you didn't give me no chance. You let me see him once. You let me see him one time, and I said, well, when can I see him again? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know?
Well, let's see what you can put forward first, buddy.
Why didn't you give me the chance back then? Yeah, for a while there, I wasn't paying child support. I'm not saying I was perfect. I made mistakes.
Oh, God.
I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect
But you kept me out of his life ever since he was a year old. You would not let me see him.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh.
I tried to give you chances to bring him. You could bring him to my mom's house.
Where's your emotion? Do you see him? This is when he got an infection, and we thought his cancer had spread through his entire body, okay? You should be looking at this picture right now. This kills me. This breaks my heart, because you know what? 6 rounds of standard dose chemotherapy, 7 rounds of high dose chemotherapy, and a stem cell transplant, and I ain't perfect. Let me be the first to tell you, I'm not perfect, but my butt was next to that little boy.
If you would have told me when it was.
Loving him.
If you would have told me where it was, I would have been there. Or gave me a number to where I could reach you, I would have been there. You never. No, I do not have anyone.
Number, right? You have told me countless occasions, Patrick, countless. I want to be dad. I want to be in his life. I want to take care of him.
And did you give me that chance?
I have.
No, when?
When?
Go to a karate practice and tell him my name is Jason? If you were planning on letting me see him further on, then maybe, okay, you could say that.
And you knew at that point that I wasn't. That's why I was
obviously.
doing it. Okay, so Dalton,
obviously there's a reason why you're telling me.
His name's Patrick. Say bye, because you'll see him in 2 years.
No, if you would have let me be in his life, I would have never left.
I know, it's my
fault. I would have been there every weekend or whenever you wanted me to get him.
Well, you know what? Here's all I got to say, okay? This little boy is my world, okay? He's not going to be hurt. We're not playing these games anymore. So really all you're doing right now is throwing a few bucks towards our house. You're not seeing him, you're not calling him, you're not sending nothing, so what is the point?
But you won't let me.
What is the point?
What will happen if I come by your house, Colleen? What will happen?
I couldn't tell you, Patrick.
Tell the truth. Tell the honest truth. What would happen?
You'd probably get your ass beat.
Okay, but let's say, I can understand you saying that now, but even then, even if I came by then, the same thing would have happened every time I come by your house.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Buddy, because you told them, you're telling me you were up into his life until he was a year old.
Yes, and I.
Which just so happened to be roughly around the time that we found out he had cancer. That's when you bailed.
How am I supposed to support my son living in a car?
Let me think for a minute that's somehow, somewhere okay for you to just diss out on your kid.
I didn't bail anyway, and as soon as I got to California, I called you guys and told you, gave you my address, my phone number, where I was so I could get a hold of you.
It ain't my job to make you dad. It ain't my job.
But you took that part away from me. Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Because I didn't want to stay with you? That's
You never
why I
let
took
me
it away?
see him. You never let me see him.
I did. I think we've established a couple occasions here that I've let you see
Okay,
him.
a very few times when you wanted to go mess around with your little boyfriend that you had at the time. I've tried to be in his life. I tried, Colleen, but you've never let me. Every time I tried to be there.
You have tried.
I've called you.
You know what?
And if you called me, I
the one
thought you didn't have
excuse
my
you
phone
used
number.
is that you were 17, you were young and dumb, right?
Yes, sir.
And how old were you at the time when he was 17?
18.
I turned 17, or I turned 18 2 weeks after Dalton was born.
Okay, so you both were 17 when you were hooking
Right.
up, and okay, so you were young and dumb, and she was young and dumb. How come you get to use the excuse and she doesn't?
He took him and would not let me see him. I tried to see him.
You know
I
what?
called. I was by there.
You know what? I don't want to keep hearing. She wouldn't let me see him.
What else am I supposed to
She
do?
didn't call the cops on you. She didn't get a restraining
If I would have
order.
been there.
She didn't call it. She didn't get a restraining order. She never went to go get a judgment against you saying you couldn't see your son. These are things women do when they really don't want you to see their kid.
If I
She didn't do.
If I would have gone by there, she would have called the cops. If I went by there, she would have got a restraining.
Could have, should have. You're living in fantasy land, and she's living in reality.
I would have
She's
been there
there
if she would have let
every
me.
day for her son.
And I would have been there if she would have let me.
Now you want to start acting like a lunatic? Where's this passion when every day that goes by you don't see your son? Have you ever said to this woman, you know what? I was messed up. I couldn't even support myself. I had to live in a car.
Yes.
Thank you for taking care of my son all these years.
Yes, actually I did. 4 years ago. When we sat down and had a conversation, I said, look, I know I'm not perfect.
Did you ever
No,
tell
I'm
the
not.
man that's going to work, spending money on your son, spending money to make sure your son's okay, he's actually there? You ever say thanks to him? Hey, thanks for taking care of my little boy?
I've never had a chance to come face to face with him.
Well, now you do.
I mean,
Let's bring out Leo.
You're not his father. I am.
You might be who he calls dad, but biologically I am.
No, you're just a sperm
Is
donor.
that what you wanted to tell him?
No.
I think
I
he knows
appreciate
he's
what he's
not the
done.
father.
I appreciate you being there for her giving you the choice to be there. She would have left that choice alone, I would still be there. She's the one that chose to leave me. Okay?
No, that
and
boy
every
would
chance.
be worse off if he was in his life.
Oh, okay. So you know.
Yes,
you don't
I
know,
know.
me. All you know is what she's told you.
And what
I
he's
don't know
seen the
you.
last 11 years.
You don't know me.
I haven't brought him over to your house.
No.
Your mom hasn't
When?
came to my job to pick him up.
When?
Have you ever met his mom?
Yes.
Okay. Has his mom ever met you?
Yes.
Have you ever given your son to his mother?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever met this guy before?
Unfortunately.
How many times?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 times.
Down at
You've
Cardinal
been
Glen
in his son's life almost the entire time his son's been alive.
Correct.
You've been there when he's been battling this cancer.
Correct.
She wasn't
Who
gonna
is
be there.
paying the bills while she's there with her son battling this cancer?
I'd go to work and then come to the hospital and sometimes give her relief so she can go get cleaned up and.
But did she ever once call me when he
Shut
was
up.
at the hospital?
Just
Yes,
let-
I did.
Shut up.
No, you didn't,
did.
Colleen. No,
Hey.
you didn't. You're lying, man. It's bull.
She's lying.
Yes, she is
You know
lying.
what? If she's lying, her lies are better than you
Well,
telling
then
the truth.
obviously she's a sweet walker. Huh?
Sweet Walker? Why can't you remember anything?
What do you mean remember anything? He never came to my
do
house.
I need to break it down to you again? Why can't you remember anything?
What do you want me to remember?
Why you and your mom were having problems? Why you broke up with her? Why you don't remember ever seeing
Why
this
me
man?
and my mom having problems? Because I
Now
was
you
making
remember?
stupid choices.
What were the stupid choices?
Things I don't want to say right here.
Like drugs, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe? Would that be a good reason why she broke up with you if you were doing drugs?
If it was, she was doing them right with me.
Oh, that you remember now. Now your memory's what, clearing up?
Well, I'm not going to put all my family business out on public television.
Jeez. Just some of it.
Well, I didn't choose to be here.
Look at this picture here. That's him with your little boy.
Yeah. Because he was given the chance to be
Does
there.
that bother you at all?
Yes, it does. But what can I do about it? I've been trying to be in his life. She won't let me. I mean, I know you don't want to hear that, and I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to say.
Listen to me. You had this chance. You had this little boy, and every day that goes by, you don't get that day back. It doesn't. You're not cashing in anything. You're not like a little investment where it's going to be there at the end. No. You have to make the investment now, every day when your son's a little boy. You put that dollar in the bank. You be there. You could say that I'm reaming you, dogging you, doing all these crazy things up on this stage. But really, the only thing that's really happening in life is you denying yourself to be a father to your little boy. That's the only thing that's happening. Yes. You know what? You can sit up here and you can say whatever you want.
Don't matter what I say. Obviously, it's going to...
No, it doesn't matter. Because when you leave the stage, you're going to say, I had a son, and he's not in my life. No matter what the reason is, no matter what the excuse is, no matter who did what, you'll know what you did or what you didn't do, the effort you didn't make. And you're going to be disgusted with yourself. You're going to be crying someday that you let your whole life go by and you were never, ever in your son's life. That's going to be the thing that dogs you the most. Goodbye. He's mad now. I hear a commotion back there. He's showing emotion. Should I go back there and actually see the emotion? He had a... He had an hour out on my stage to show emotion. He didn't show one shred for his son, for anything that he's done. Never showed emotion. As soon as he gets off the stage and away from me, he starts throwing things and beating things up. And you know, what did you hit? A chair? No, let him be fired up. Let him punch whatever he wants to punch. Let him go ahead. Let him go.
Excuse me.
No, you go back out this way. You can't go this way. It's a fire hazard.
That's the way I came in.
No, you'll go this way. You'll go this way. You'll go this way.
You look like a dog on TV.
A dog? You've done it yourself.
I've been there.
Where's this fire been for the last time? When you're gonna come back here and start punching things now?
I didn't come back.
Oh, really? Now you're a tough guy. You're gonna start pushing people around, huh? Now you're a tough guy. Where's this fire seeing your son? You want to be back there pushing Chicago police officers now? But you won't go over and knock on your own son's door. But you'll be pushing cops around here.
Like I said, I'm sorry. I've never made the...
Sorry, you don't have to apologize to me. You need to say that to your son. You need to say... You don't have to apologize to me.
Are you my son?
You need to say it to your son.
And I will.
Oh, you will.
If they give me that chance to do it...
Give you a chance. You're here. You want to push your way around through everything. You're mad. Where's this fire when you can't see your son?
It's there, but what am I supposed to do? Just
what are you supposed to say that you're doing now? This isn't, it's not as important as your son. My show? What the hell you give a damn about my show? Now you want to start acting like a lunatic? Where's this passion when every day that goes by you don't see your son?
You know, it hurts. But
it hurts. It hurts your son. Doesn't hurt you. If it was hurting, if it was in your way,
how do you know
you get so mad, you go over there. You wouldn't be scared. You're not scared to come on TV. You're not scared to come on my stage. You're not scared to tell your whole story. But you're scared to go over and see your son.
No, I just don't want to cause drama.
You don't want to cause drama.
Now, why can't she just be like, all right.
Why can't she?
Why couldn't she?
Keep pointing the finger. Keep pointing the finger. The finger is pointing, you know what? The finger's pointed. I gave you a chance. I gave you an hour. And you didn't show nothing. You don't have a good excuse. And again, I'm not wasting any more time.
I told you I made mistakes.
You made mistakes and you're still making them. Well, 5-year mistake not seeing your son. 5 years. That's more than a mistake.
She made that
You're
choice.
pathetic. Go live with yourself.
I will.
That right there is the definition of gutless. Gutless. I want to thank you. Like you said, nobody's perfect, nobody. But you know what? You're there for your son, and that's what it's about. And you know what? You're a better man because he's not your son, but he is your son. And you love him, and you take care of him, and you took care of him all this time. Thank you. There's a good guy here. Guy with guts. Let's go.